I think the Kansas City Chiefs will be right back in the Super Bowl, and I do believe that we're going to win it. Now, a lot of people are doubting the Kansas City Chiefs this year due to us having an 11-6 record and our offense being ranked ninth out of 32 teams. You know how good you have to be for your offense to be ranked ninth out of 32 teams, and people are saying you're done, you're trash. Like, you know how good of an offense that means you have to have for these years. But either way, I'll take a ninth ranked offense with the Hall of Fame quarterback and Patrick Mahomes and one of the greatest play callers of all time and Andy Reid, if not the greatest play caller of all time, with a top 3 defense. I mean, that's scary. Like, how could people not fear this defense, you know? People think Allen is God. Allen's just going to pull out a bunch of passes and just throw it. But that's how you lead. That's how it leads to interceptions. I mean, this defense is not going to leave dudes open every play. It's going to be dudes that's getting clamped up. Diggs is not going to be a factor. L'Jarius Sneed is going to win that matchup with Diggs. Spags is going to get to Josh Allen. He's going to make him go on a run. He's going to make him make throws that he shouldn't be making. And it's just up to the defense to make plays. It's up for them to play on the ball good. Allen's going to be pressured. He's going to be knocked down a few times. He's going to be pressured. There's going to be times where James Cook can't run. He can't get a lane. James Cook is just getting dominated. I wouldn't bet against this Chiefs defense. I would have been put a parlay in, honestly. I wouldn't do that. This Chiefs defense is too on the rail right now. And if you do want to lose your money, then you could put a parlay in against us. But I wouldn't even risk that right now because I feel that's way too risky with the way like Snead and dudes like McDuffie has been playing this season in a way like we just been shutting people down. I mean, the Bills aren't ready. I don't care if they're in Orchard Park, Highmark Stadium, whatever it's called. That playground, Orchard Playground, we're going to walk into that trap. And Mahomes is going to snatch Josh Allen's chain, bro. Honestly, that's what I think is going to happen. But enough of the Bills talk. We're going to talk about why we could go to the Super Bowl and win it in general. So if we take a look at Patrick Mahomes in the divisional round, 2018, 31-13 win, right? 2019, 51-31 win. 2020, 22-17 win. 2021, 42-36 overtime win. Last year, 2022, 27-20 win. 2023, we don't know what the future is going to hold, but that just goes to show you that Mahomes is used to these divisional games. He's won 5 in a row, and I do think he's going to win his 6th today. Now, Patrick Mahomes says the team has to find a way to turn field goals into touchdowns this week if they're going to win. Now, I do believe that he is 100% right on what he said about turning field goals into touchdowns this week. And we're gonna have to figure out ways to do that. I mean, you can run it with Pacheco, but that's if the O-line has to win those matchups. You could throw some options, you could throw some screens, maybe run some little bit of play action, maybe get Mahomes to roll out. This ways to score. But I think Mahomes is gonna run one in this week. I might throw a little bet on that. Mahomes to run in a touchdown this week. I believe he's gonna do it. But Mahomes says, I already said that, sorry. Patrick Mahomes leads 2 more passing touchdowns in the playoffs to be 6th all-time in playoff passing touchdowns. 10 more touchdowns and he'll pass Joe Montana for 2nd all-time. Now, Patrick Mahomes is 28 years old, right? And he's only 28 years old. He's already up there in history with all of these quarterbacks that's very, very good. Anybody else in this remaining playoffs is not Patrick Mahomes, and he does not have his resume. During 6 seasons as Kansas City's on-field leader, Mahomes has a road record of 38-11 in the regular season. That's a 77.6 winning percentage. So he has a 77 winning percentage on the road. That's the best mark in NFL history among passers who's played at least 14 games on the road. Hall of Fame Otto Graham, who's played 36 road games, is 2nd all-time with a 76 winning percentage. What's more impressive is Mahomes' road passing rating of 107.6. It tops the charts with 119 passing touchdowns out of Kansas City. Outside of Kansas City, Mahomes ranks behind only Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Joe Montana. When you're on any list with those 3 quarterbacks, you're among the game's best quarterbacks on the road. Well, for that matter, honestly, like everywhere, right? Now, the narrative about Mahomes playing for the first time on the road in the playoffs, I really think, like, in my opinion, it's kind of funny because Pat, he's played in 3 Super Bowls and he's won 2 of them, So I don't understand how you could think like him being on the road can make a difference when this dude is playing in Super Bowls. Like when you win in the playoffs and when you win in the Super Bowl and you do it twice like how Patrick Mahomes does, we know that you're that guy in those big moments. And Mahomes has already showed us he's that guy in them big moments. He's that guy anywhere he plays. Now, Andy Reid limited the targets, which was very, very good. And that's because, like, this is what Doug Williams has had to say about it, had to say about Andy Reid limiting the targets. He said that's what you have to do with the Chiefs because they have soft football players. And it's not like Coach Reid to have soft football players. Rashee Rice is a player, Kelsey's a player, Pacheco's a player, Mahomes is a player. When it comes to dudes like MVS, when it comes to McCole Harmon, they are just mentally tough football players. They are just not mentally tough football players. And you could tell how they approach the game that's true. Now, it's really interesting about McCole Harmon because he could have really made big plays that game if he would have just tracked the ball right. So I do believe he's going to make some huge plays versus Buffalo. And I hope he does because he has to stop being soft, man. He has to go for them balls. He has to track it. He has to catch the ball, man. He's scared to drop it. I don't know what McCole is scared of, bro. Catch the ball. And obviously the Chiefs offense, I guess, still misses Tyreek Hill or whatever. But Rashee Rice's emergence into a dominant wide receiver over the last few weeks, it's really, really been good for the Kansas City Chiefs, you know. And, like, this is, like, becoming our new target. Rice, I mean, he hauled in 8 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown in his first ever career playoff game against the Miami Dolphins. So we should have known this was coming, right? Because he went over the 100-yard receiving mark twice in his last 6 games. And he's really becoming good with Mahomes, you know. The key for Rice will be adjusting to becoming the number one wideout in opposing defensive coordinators' eyes moving forward, right? Dudes is going to scheme. Defensive coordinators is going to scheme for Rice being the wide receiver 1. And the other wide receivers did not play well in the playoff opener. So Rice could be a big part of the team's aerial attack. But I don't know if he's ready to be the leading man quite yet because he was kind of off the radar. When he starts getting schemed for, we got to see what he does. But him being this good and being a potential star is a big reason why the Chiefs could win the Super Bowl this year. And him getting schemed for could also get other dudes wide open, which it should. Now, when we talk about the Chiefs defense, this is another reason why we could easily win the Super Bowl. Everyone who knows anything about the Chiefs defense, they understand that Chris Jones is a superstar in the middle of the defensive line. And Jones isn't, if you was a casual fan, right, you wasn't a Chiefs fan, you learned that Jones isn't the only player on the team's defensive front that's capable of getting sacks. George Karlaftis has developed into a top-tier edge rusher from his defensive end spot. He had 10.5 sacks during the regular season, but he exploded versus the Dolphins with 1.5 sacks, and he literally just annihilated Tua. And if you add in Charles with Mini Hoop's production, who's been an edge rusher off the bench, there's more to this front seven than just Jones' superstar play, you know? And that's honestly crucial when you're going against opposing offensive coaches and that has the ability to craft custom game plans to stop one defensive player from wrecking their game plan and then the other defensive players just come in and wreck them. So I got to give Brett Veach his credit. I got to give the Chiefs front office their credit for building a pass rush that's, capable of dominating playoff games. And, like, Jones, I know he's the leading man, but Karlaftis and the Mini-Who man and the rest of the roster, they're capable of picking up the slack when Jones gets stopped, And that's just a big plus for, like, a team with legitimate Super Bowl dreams. Sorry, I talk fast. I start stuttering. I got to stop doing that in my videos. It's not professional. But football, it's a team game. And obviously it's other positions, but we know that quarterback is literally the most important position in the NFL. And the reality is that Mahomes is the best quarterback on the planet, right? He would strike fear into every defensive coordinator, no matter what year we're in, no matter what down year we're having, no matter what stats he had. He's going to strike fear, right? Now, he didn't play his best football against the Dolphins, but it was definitely a step up from the way he played toward the end of the regular season. I mean, Mahomes made some impressive off-platform throws that his press just couldn't make. His peers just couldn't make, sorry. And that's like dudes like Allen and them, they can't make these throws Mahomes was making, man. And his final stats would have definitely been better if it wasn't for obvious drops from Travis Kelce and the rest of the team receiving group. But it's cool. Now, it was kind of cold. I knew they was going to have drops in the cold. But I don't know, man. The offensive line has to keep blocking like how they did against the Dolphins. I understand it's going against a depleted, pass rush, but the Chiefs O-line still did a solid job, and I hope they build off of that and they keep going. Now, the clearest path towards Super Bowl glory is for the Chiefs and Mahomes to get hot and for Mahomes to carry the team to a title, because he's a guy that no other team in the playoffs possesses. And betting against Mahomes is something anyone in the NFL should feel comfortable doing, especially like when the stakes are at their highest, right? Now, the Chiefs certainly have a path to the Super Bowl, and they definitely should be considered as serious contenders. So, with that being said, there is a strong possibility that they'll have to do something they have yet to do, and that's win a road playoff game. It's not a possibility. They have to win a road playoff game or we're done, right? Because Allen and the Buffalo Bills are waiting for us in Orchard Park. And Mahomes, he's never played in a playoff game on the road in his career, but now he might have to do it twice to return to the Super Bowl, man. But I believe Patrick Mahomes could do it. I wouldn't put nothing past him. This dude is good. You doubt him, and he just proves you wrong every time. Now we're gonna dominate the Bills in the divisional round, right? But it's about hitting the road a second time when you have to face the Baltimore Ravens if they get past the Texans, right? But it's still a way that we can return to Arrowhead. That's if we beat the Bills and then the Texans upset the Ravens. Then we could do another AFC Championship in Kansas City. But with that being said, bro, the much more likely scenario is that the Chiefs are going to have to win 2 road games in a row to go to the Super Bowl. And that's something they have yet to do in their recent playoff runs. But I wouldn't put nothing past it, because Mahomes, Andy Reid, Kels, and Rice and Pacheco is definitely enough on offense. And we have a very good defense. Now, Steve Spagnuolo, I know y'all always laugh at me for the way I say his name, but Spags is having a great year. And he has a reputation for being one of the better defensive coordinators in the league, Now, I do think that he's been appreciated by outsiders more than he has by Chiefs fans, because, we was mad at him last year a lot. But now he redeemed himself, and Spags isn't a terrorist. We wanted him fired, which is sad. And now we're obviously wrong, right? Now, you have to really look at how good Spags is. Like, you really have to look at how good Spags is. He usually finds a counter to what the offense is doing, and he slows it or he shuts them down. I mean, the Chiefs defense has allowed just 16.7 points per game through their 18 games that they have now played. And those 18 games, they've only allowed more than 21 points twice. And once was against the Denver Broncos when the offense turned the ball over 5 times. The other was against the Green Bay Packers, and that was probably the only game all season where you can make an argument the Chiefs defenses didn't play well enough to deserve that win. But I think the defense is going to redeem themselves. I say redeem themselves. They don't have to redeem themselves. But I think the Chiefs defense is going to keep pushing, keep doing what they have to do, and even have a better game than they did last week against the Dolphins. And we're going to get to the great players who are making like a splash in this defense and making them successful in this moment. But we definitely had to, acknowledge how great of a job Spags has done, both in getting his young defense coached up and ready to play, and in his adjustments and schemes that have been giving opposing teams fits, And I do think that he should have the NFL terrified, because Spags has a track record of getting, his best defensive performances at the end of the season. And literally, he was struggling during the first half of the season. But Spags has literally, been successful throughout the whole year. And we know that Spags saved literally a lot of his bag of tricks for the playoffs. And now this defense is just very talented, and they could live up to his scheme. And I do think that he adds more and more complex schemes as we get later into the season. And I could see Spags having some schemes that we don't know about yet. Like, he was killing against the Dolphins, shut them down. But I don't think he backed out a lot of his great schemes in that game. I think against the Buffalo Bills, we're going to see some schemes that we've never seen Spags really put out through this season. And not only are the Chiefs' young players getting more experienced and more confident, but Spags is giving them more and more as they can handle it. And in previous seasons, that took the Chiefs' defense from struggling early to good enough to win in the playoffs with an elite offense. But this year, man, if they could keep improving and ramp up, it could really take them to the Super Bowl. It could take them far. And this caliber of defense, it could definitely lead them to a Super Bowl. Now, when we talk about players that's dominating and that's helping his defense out even more, L'Jarius Sneed, the racist elite wide receivers. L'Jarius Sneed has been one of the top cornerbacks in all of the NFL this season. Despite what Pro Bowl and All Pro voters may tell you, he is one of the most physical cornerbacks in the entire NFL. And his brand of football has proven to been be very successful against the top wide receivers in all of the NFL. I mean, in the league where the passing game is such a huge part of success, the ability to shut down the other team's top target, it's a massive win for a defense. And Snead has been arguably the best in the NFL at doing so this season. And that's why I believe he's at the top of the list when it comes to reasons to believe in his defense carrying the Chiefs to the Super Bowl. And now when we get into the second corner, it's literally an all-pro. While Snead is shutting down these dudes, he's locking up wide receivers. The NFL's top nickel corner in Trent McDuffie, who was voted on AP All-Pro this week, it shows that this pairing is honestly crazy. And that's what makes this unit so successful. If Snead is taking away a team's top option on the outside or whatever, then McDuffie could take away their best option out of the slot, which is often literally a QB safety valve if the wide receiver one isn't getting open. McDuffie, I mean, I know he may not be quite as big and physical as Snead is, but bro, to literally just not realize how strong McDuffie is and how good he is honestly foolish. And the Chiefs' ability to pair him with Snead, this is just a cornerback duo that makes life like hell for other defenses going forward. And another thing I have to say is the Chiefs, like I said earlier, the Chiefs have a very dominant pass rush. We know coverage is an essential part of a great pass defense, but if the other team isn't getting pressured, the quarterback is always going to find someone open eventually, and that's why it's good that our pass rush is very, very good. Now, Chris Jones is obviously one of the top interior pass rushers in the league, if not the top, and he had a DPOY season last season. But this year, it's not only Jones. You got the emergence of Karlaftis, the arrival of Charles Omenihu, you got the blitz packages of Steve Spagnuolo, you got opposing quarterbacks that should be losing sleep at night, And it's really insane. 10.5 sacks on the season. Omenihu, 7 sacks in 11 games. Karlaftis also with 10.5 sacks in the regular season. And that gives KC 3 players who up front who averaged double-digit sacks when they played this season, because Omenihu was on a pace of 10.8 sacks over 17 games. And then you mix in Mike Dana, who has 6.5 sacks. And yeah, man, that's honestly crazy. That's 34 sacks from the team's top 4 up front alone, And the Chiefs, they finished second in team sacks this season with 57. And a big part of that was obviously the 4 players listed above. But Spagnuolo's blitz packages, it was also a massive reason for our success, right? The Chiefs had 9 sacks by defensive backs this year and another 8.5 by off-ball linebackers. So that's also another 17.5 sacks that you could attribute to Spags sending blitzes. And us having a great 4-man pass rush and successful blitz packages paired with the best cornerback duo in the NFL, it makes KC's pass defense an absolute nightmare. And I do believe that we could go to the Super Bowl. But if you really look at it, the Chiefs' offense also isn't that bad. Obviously, when you think about teams that just straight up got carried by their defense to the Super Bowl, that's the 2000 Baltimore Ravens and that's the 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had quarterbacks like Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson, right? But this isn't the case for the 2023 Kansas City Chiefs. We have a Hall of Fame QB. We still have a good offense. We was 9th in yards per game, 15 in points per game. This wasn't a bad offense. It just wasn't elite like our old offenses. So when we talk about the defense carrying the offense to the Super Bowl, I don't want to really put it like that, because this offense doesn't need to be carried. I think that the Chiefs defense could lead them to a Super Bowl win, because when you have Andy Reid as your coach, Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Kelsey at tight end, and you got dudes like Pacheco and Rashee Rice who could help carry the Chiefs, the defense doesn't have to really shut out the opposing offense. All they need to do is limit the team to 20 points or less, and then the Chiefs have a real shot to win against absolutely anyone. So what we're banking on is the Chiefs offense to push and put up 24 to 27 a game, and we're banking on the defense to shut teams down to less than 20 points. So hopefully they can do that, and I do believe we're going to walk into Orchard Park. We're going to snatch Allen Shane, and Mahomes is going to lead his team to the Super Bowl. Take it 1 week at a time. Right now, if this content is more for this week and the Bills, Hopefully, we beat the Buffalo Bills because I'm a fan of the Chiefs and I don't want to see my team lose. I'm going to be heartbroken. I'm going to cry. But I also don't want to stop dropping content for y'all. I mean, after we lose to the Bills, well, we're not going to lose to them, but if we did, it would be very hard to make videos for you guys because I'll have to start planning for next season and stuff like that while everybody's worried about the other teams in the playoffs. We're not going to think like that. Chiefs priority, and I'm out. Peace.